It's mustering time. So the old man's up in the grader. It's good to see him, good to have him out here. I haven't seen him for a while and we'll spend time with him, so it's good. We're just opening up this road a bit so the cattle trucks can get up and down it a bit easier. It's just really overgrown. But yeah, that's what's happening at the moment. Plenty of weight, plenty of bloody fuel. Trying to keep up water at the moment is a bit of a mission. It's hot, you know, heading into summer. We're mustering. We've probably got 4,000 or 5,000 head on the joint at the moment. Obviously all the breeding cows and whatnot, but then you got all the heifers and weaners that you know, all the weaners are getting big, getting older now, 9-12 months, and drinking a lot of water, not just, you know, like the little calves that drink milk off their mum. So there's a lot of pressure at the moment, but we're mustering and a lot of those weaners will get trucked out of here, well, like all of them. So then we'll be back down to just small calves and the breeders, so the cows and that. Yeah, so we've got to pump a lot, run generators at night to keep up the water on the solar bores, for example. Check this out. I think that's the stuff of most people's nightmares. Imagine building a cubby house up in that tree. So I went and picked me up a new compressor yesterday before coming back out bush here. As you know, I've got this XTM single pumper mounted into here and basically hardwired into here. That's it there on an Anderson. I've been having some trouble with this bloody ITechworld setup very recently. I noticed the other day that the battery stopped charging and this was giving me a readout. It was dropping at a fast rate of knots. Been having some dramas just purely with the battery not charging. So the battery ended up depleted and a low level alarm came on. So I had to shut the fridge down and all that sort of stuff. Luckily I was here and at the homestead and I was able to put my food and whatever in the fridges inside here. So I went back to town and I was trying to figure out what was going on, trying to do a bit of troubleshooting, and jumped on their website and I was looking at manuals and, you know, all the stuff that you do. Basically, I ended up putting solar on. With this little box, you can plug solar in this side here, which is this extension I've got right here with an Anderson. So it's just an Anderson connector that plugs in straight underneath this. There's an Anderson port. So that comes from the alternator. So you can charge unregulated into this side because this charger takes care of that, or you can plug a regulated solar blanket into this side. I did both of those things in town and it started charging. I got the battery back up to 80 or 90% or whatever it was, and then I had to come back out here. So anyway, I've brought the solar blanket with me, and like I said, it hasn't been charging via alternator. I don't know, it won't take an alternator charge. But yesterday, halfway through, in the afternoon, I was opening up the canopy and checking it every so often just to see what it was doing. And it started charging from the alternator again. But this charge has been making some funny buzzing sounds, and I wasn't sure if it was the battery or what was going on, but I'm pretty sure it's the box, like the charger, that's playing up. So it seems it's taking alternator charge again. It seems like it's, I don't know, fixed itself. But obviously I can't rely on that. So I've been in contact with ITechworld. I've sent them emails. I haven't had a reply yet. And I'm out here with no internet, so I'll have to go. I might go into the local community today because they got Wi-Fi. Check my emails. So anyway, blah, blah, long bloody story. I don't want to run my compressor, obviously, off that system. So I went and got a new one. And that compressor's been going hard for like 5 years and it's making noises. And so it's time to get a new one. So I got myself this double pumper. It's Maxi Track brand, just straight from Repco. Now I do like the XTM gear for most of their stuff from Supercheap. I love shopping at Supercheap, and I've found XTM to be pretty good. Like, not Same with Ridge Rider, like some of their gear is probably a bit pus, but I like most of it. They only had the single pump there at Super Cheap, and I'm a club member and whatever, so I get, you know, a discount. So I went across the road to bloody Repco, and they had this Maxi Track, which this brand seems really cheap to me, but these compressors are pretty much all the same. There's so many brands that have slapped their name on the side of these, and they're actually a pretty well-built compressor. Like that little single pump one I've got in the canopy, there's a lot of brands that's just pretty much a heavy-duty compressor that's pumped out in some factory, and different brands chuck their names on it. And they have little design differences, like the cover. They'll put put their own little design differences into it, whatever. And they're pretty, from what I've found, and you read a heap of reviews, they're a pretty solid little unit. So I thought I'd go something different, double pumper, and get these 35s pumped up even quicker. Rightio. So here we go. She's a pretty big unit. So straight up, I mean, that's all they give you. There's no bloody quick connect. I'll be able to take the one off my XTM compressor, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, that's a bit of a shame. You don't want to be bloody screwing this thing onto every tyre. That's just a fucking pain in the ass. Now, the reason I kept the single and mounted it in the canopy is because they have a maximum draw of 45 amps, and these double pumpers are about 90. I can't put an Anderson on this and run it off the battery box because, as most of you would know, the Anderson ports are 50 amp rated. But I'll show you where I've got, what I'm going to do is, I think, once I get this sorted, this inverter plugs into here. It's a 175 amp port. What I'll do is mount the compressor there just like that one is, and chuck, I guess, 175 amp Anderson plug on the end of these, and then it can plug in where the inverter is. And I don't really mind doing that. I will leave the compressor plugged into that port because I use it a hell of a lot more often than my inverter. I do use the inverter mainly for charging power tool batteries, but how hard is it to unplug the compressor and plug the inverter in? I think that's what I'm going to do, and that's bloody good. That's going to work. The 100 amp hour ITechworld battery that's in here has a continuous discharge rate, output rate, whatever you bloody call it, like the continuous amount of draw you can pull from it, I think is 100 or maybe 150 amps. It's good to go. Obviously leave this like this for now. That was the whole point of buying a new one, so I can use this under the bonnet. I guess that's one problem when you have a battery system like this. You don't really have redundancy. Nothing's ever perfect. So as soon as this started to shit itself, you know, no fridge, no inverter, no compressor, gone. There's no redundancy in the system, which isn't very good. It's all good when it works until it doesn't. But anyway, I'm keen to see how this compressor goes, and how much better it is or how much quicker it is, see how much of a difference there is. This compressor claims to supply 300 litres per minute, the big dog, at 150 PSI. Other similar compressors, like the XTM double pump, which is basically the same compressor, it's pretty much the same, claims to supply 250 litres per minute. So big numbers, big claims from the old Maxi Track crew. Maxi Track's a bit close to Max Track, guys. I see what you did there. Yeah, right. So what I'll do is, I was just going to use this hose. So it's nice to have some backup stuff, but I'll pull this off of here. It takes forever to screw on and off your valve. It's a pain in the ass. But at least XTM supply you with that. These bloody cheapskate Maxi Track mob don't give you that. They just give you some epoxy needles and stuff to pump up footies, which I don't care about that. That's one thing I will say about that XTM compressor. I think I've had that for 5 years across a few different cars. Flogged the shit out of it. It's full of dust and all sorts of stuff. None of it's ever failed. The hose, like everything, the compressor, like I said, it's starting to make funny noises now. And oh, that's the other thing, it's been cutting out almost ever since I had it installed in there like that, running off that ITechworld. It's been cutting out. So basically I pump up a tyre, shut it off, go to the next tire, pump it up, shut it off. When I was running that compressor under the bonnet with the alligator clips, I used to be able to pump 4 tires up in a row. It'd just troop along and do it no problem. Whereas now, I notice that all the cabling and that gets very hot. So I don't know what it is, if it's just a coincidence and the compressor is shitting itself, or it's probably my dodgy bloody wiring. Maybe there's some of the connections aren't that great, so there's resistance, because the cables get very hot. Doesn't blow a fuse or anything, but it just cuts out. I welded up this yesterday. We've got contractors in at the moment doing the mustering. We're not really having anything to do with it at the moment. We may next year, but for now they're doing it. It's a bit unfortunate, so I can't really show you any of it. It's pretty exciting. This is what's used to brand the cattle, and the Y broke off. So I've just had this up here last night, gave it a weld repair, and stuck a little extra bit of flat on top here, just to make it a bit stronger. So obviously I've checked everything, going back to this bloody ITechworld battery setup that's playing up. Like, this fuse is fine, everything seems fine, it's all pretty basic. Yeah, I've kind of tried to fault find and see what's going on there. Most of you would have watched the couple of ITechworld videos that I did, like the install for this in the shed. And I did explain that, you know, I wanted to give the brand a go. There's negative reviews, there's positive reviews. You'll get that with everything. Some say the batteries are shit, some say they're good. But, you know, I like to just try shit for myself and see what I think. And one of the biggest things that I did mention was, I wonder how it's all going to go in summertime in this black canopy. When this started playing up the other day, I thought perhaps it was because it was so hot. So maybe the battery or like the charger was derating and went out on a heat thing. Now, what I'm going to do is, she's all hooked up. The big V8's roared into life. What I'm going to do is turn it on and count to 70. Sounds silly, but that's what I always do when I'm airing back up. I just count to 70, it puts enough in there to get me back to town, and then I put exactly what I want in them in town. I just want to see what it puts in compared to counting to 70 with the single pump XTM. So let's do it. Right, well, it looks like it's put a fair bit in. What does this gauge say? The gauge says 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 30, 30, what? 25, 30, 35, 40. So 40, I don't know, 2 or something PSI? I wonder how accurate that is. I'm going to use this, which came with the iTech, what is it? iCheck, whatever the bloody. So this reckons 37 PSI. Maybe I was reading that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it said around 42. So, cold pressures, I haven't moved the car yet, it's still the morning. It was sitting at about under 25 PSI, the rear tyre. 21 or 2 or something like that. Up to 37 in 70 seconds, which is bloody good. So my single pump would have got that tyre to about 30 from memory. Roughly 30, 31 or something like that. So that's pretty good. That's a 35-inch tyre, mind you. That's real good. That's excellent. So I just disconnected that and reconnected it just to kind of, I don't know, reset the line pressure. And it's reading about pretty much bang on 40 PSI. So 39, 40. So it's probably 2 or 3 PSI out when comparing to this iCheck gauge. Could probably just go by that. You know, the way to use those gauges is to pump the tyre up. While you're pumping it, pretty much gives you a line reading. Shut the compressor off, and then it tells you what, obviously, PSI is in the tyre roughly. So it's, you know, within a couple of PSI, and nothing's ever perfect, as I'm bloody finding with this stuff, and temperature and pressure and rah and whatever everyone goes on about. So yeah, I mean, it's not like it's 5 or 10 PSI out. I've never actually used them like on this XTM compressor. Like, I've never actually used that to give me a reading. But I might actually start using it on this one. So funny story, I haven't been able to use my compressor. I used the old man's TJM compressor out here the other day to pump tyres up before I went back to town. That little compressor he's had for a few years, must be one of their earlier ones. It's pretty small, I didn't really realise. Single piston. I basically had it on each tyre for 3.5 minutes. It put like maybe 5 psi in, if I was lucky. 3.5 minutes. Yeah, that little TJM compressor's bloody useless. Might be alright on a smaller tyre, but not on the 35. But I will say it, bloody 3.5 minutes each tyre. I did turn it off in between each tyre, just to swap the airline over, and it chugged along. It didn't go out on a overheat thing or anything. So I mean, it did well, but it's probably good for pumping up a beach ball. That's about it. Now, that's me Ridge Rider solar blanket there, which it's in a pretty decent case. It feels more thicker than this, and I still use it. It hasn't ripped or anything. I haven't used this solar blanket heaps, to be fair. It's sat in the shed for a long time, so I can't really say. I went up to Lorella Springs a couple of years ago for about a week, and we used it every day. I haven't used it that much. 200 watt, but it's good. It actually puts in 9, 10, 11 amps or something on a nice sunny day. It is good, and there's plenty of good reviews on it. But yeah, this Maxi Track bag is useless. It'll be plucked in 2 weeks or something, as most of them are. It shits me when they sell these heavy duty compressors and that's how they market them. Why cheap out on that shit? Supplying it, it's just a shame. Like, it'll rip in 2 weeks and I'll have to throw it in the bin. It's just a waste of time. May as well not even supply one, or do it properly. That's what shits me about these brands. Like, I mean, these more probably don't care. They're probably just a mass production, just a generic brand, you know, for auto stores like Repco. But if simple things, like if I was going to sell a compressor, it'd be a bloody good one, and I'd make sure the bag is top tier, and then everyone can use it for years to come, and people will go on about it. People will say, like, mate, it's the best bag I've ever had with a compressor, and they like that. Like, hey mate, what are you doing? Just hanging out on the fence. Doing a fence check, eh? What a legend. Well, what have we got here? Some bloody camels. Oh, well, we'll try and drill a few. Wow, look at that little baby. Little albino looking thing. Well, I dropped a couple, but they're on the move a little bit. Just trying to go very steady with them and get them to pull up so we can try and drop a few more. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit tricky when you're by yourself, when they're on the move like that. I mean, generally speaking, they're relatively easy to shoot. They're not heaps quick. They're kind of dopey. A lot of the times they just hang around, but you know, I'm not going to run into the scrub after them. It's bloody sometimes too hot. So got a couple, hopefully catch up with the rest later. We've actually had known about these mobs for quite a while. We're slowly picking them off. Into the scrub they go. So just driving one of our boundary fences. I've got to get to a couple of bores, having a couple of dramas with solar not pumping. We got a bit of damage right here, some twisted barb, so nothing major, but we'll get this fixed up and keep heading along this fence. Yeah, but this is why you got to be onto it, because there's always dramas with camels. So I'm just at this bore, which I was here the other day and it wasn't pumping solar. I think I mentioned all this on a video. But this is the 101 box right here. Now, it's full of ants. I don't know if you can see them all crawling around in there. But this is pretty much what happened the other week. The fellas came out, pulled it apart, and basically the diagnosis was they changed this 101 box because it was full of ants. But as you can see, it's got a seal around it. Little pricks keep getting in there. We've never had this problem before on any bore. Like, anyway, so it's a new 101 box. I've just pulled it apart just to have a look, and it's full of ants. So I'm assuming that that's our problem again. I wanted to actually silicon this box up. Like, they look pretty sealed, and as I said, it's got a seal on it. So I don't know how the fuck they get in, but they just do, the little shits. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have to chuck another one on and silicon it up. Later that afternoon, the old man and I headed out west to check on a couple of bores. So while grading these roads for the cattle trucks, the old man noticed the old grader's getting a bit warm. So we thought we'd drop the coolant, which it was not really coolant, and put some new stuff in there to try and sort that problem out. That's what we want. Full of it. Not really coolant. Looks like it's just bloody dirty water. So she was overheating a little bit the other day, and we were widening them roads for the trucks. So anyway, we're just letting that drain out, and just taking the old trailer to the dump just to chuck a bunch of old shit out collected from around the joint. So it's good. Haven't stayed out here for a while for this long, you know. Now that mustering's on, we're sort of out here for a long period of time. So yeah, getting to do a bit of a clean up around the joint's bloody good. Rightio. All this shit into the bin. I'm not going to chuck this or this frame. There's a few things I'm not going to throw out, any of this steel. We've got like a bit of a steel dump back here where things like that go, just random shit. And if you're ever looking for something for a certain job, we normally just come up there and have a bit of a scrounge around. So check this out. This is an old, what they call a cyclone bed. The legs fold out like that, just like the swag stretchers we have today. Haven't used one of them for a bloody long time. That's what the OGs used to sleep on. Still use it from time to time if I'm out here on a swag. Like sometimes we've got a mob of people up here at the homestead and there's not much room, so I'll just like camp out on the bloody cyclone bed. I haven't done that for ages though, and I don't see myself having to do it in the future, but it's nice when it's a cool night. It's bloody good. Oh, as comfortable as ever. Fucking hell. The 1-ton crane I installed a while back is definitely coming in handy. What a feast.
Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey, mate.
Jim Carrey, mate.
We got full-on Avatar bugs here, eh? Look at the dude. Why are you crawling all over the Will Smith DVD? Huh? We've got this little Mickey bull over here. As you can probably see, he's standing a bit funny. His front right leg, right around the knee joint, is swollen and he can't seem to put any weight on it. His front legs are a bit buggered. I thought it was just one leg, but I've been monitoring him for the last couple of weeks just to see if it's going to come good. But looking at that, it's actually both of his front legs. You see there? I'm just going to go for a bit of a walk towards him, see how much he can move, because he's looking, you know, he's young and strong, and there is a bit of green grass right near the bore, and he's at the bore, so there's water in the trough just there. So he's okay, but if he can't really move, here we go. So I'm just going to approach him, because if he can't really move, we're going to have to shoot him, eh? So it's both front legs. Look at that, poor bugger. I mean, clearly it's that front left that's properly buggered. I don't know whether to... The bloody decisions you got to make, eh? I don't know whether to put him out of his misery or will he come good. It's just one of those things. but he's not in the best condition. You can see he's a little bit scrawny. He's not perishing or anything. Like I said, he's at the bore. There's, you know, water right here, but he's just in bad condition. So I don't know what that is. I probably actually should shoot him, to be honest. And he's been like this for a while. I've been keeping an eye on him for maybe a month or more, actually. It doesn't seem to be improving. And as you can see, he can barely walk, so the poor bastard can't really go out to feed. But like I said, there is some green pick around here, as you can see in the camera. So he's not starving. Usually around the immediate bore areas where all the cattle come to drink, it's flogged out and there's not much grass. But you know, we've had rain here and there lately and whatever, so we've had a bit of grass growing. Should really probably put him out of his misery, poor fella. What the bloody hell's going on here? What are you doing, you little shit? You look guilty. What have you been doing? Moo! Moo! What is going on around here? All sorts of shenanigans. So as I said, we're just in the middle of mustering, but I'll just show you. It's been a while since we've mustered, and you got dudes like that cruising around. So he's still got his nutsack, as you can see right there. So he's turning into a proper bull. He's a Mickey bull. Another one right there. So definitely time to clean up, and they'll all get their nuts cut out and trucked out of here. And it's been a while. Some of the cows have got like a big wiener hanging off them, like a big Mickey or heifer hanging off them. And then they've also got, like, doubled up, got a little calf hanging off them. So definitely well and truly due to pull all these bigger wieners off of their mums, you know. So some of you may remember this generator I dropped off after I welded the crane to the trailer. That's where it lives now. Obviously this bore runs on solar, but when you've got these solar bores will pump when there's cloud, but it just depends, you know, what kind of cloud cover you got, how thick it is and all that sort of stuff. But you know, we're pretty heavily stocked at the moment, and as I just said, we got mustering going on, so a lot of these big wieners are eating a lot of grass and drinking a lot of water, and they're going to be trucked out of here, which gives us a lot of relief of pressure off of the bores, because right now they're all drinking so much water. It's bloody 40 degrees today or something, so it's a little bit challenging to keep up water. So I've just ducked down here to kick that in the guts, that Jenny, and then we're guaranteed we're pumping water. So it's a bit dicey with the cloud cover. We're sort of pumping on and off, you know. As the clouds go past, sun comes out, we pump for a bit, but it's just no good. You're just not keeping up water. So pretty much going to run that for the rest of the Arvo all night, and come back tomorrow morning sometime and just check the tanks to see what's going on. 42 degrees. Need a bloody jacket. Couple of rigs together. Which one are you taking? I'm just off on a bit of a night mission. We got a low water level reading at 5 Mile Bore. So that yard's full of bloody cattle that are getting trucked, and today was like 41 degrees, so we've been pumping there all day but kind of struggling to keep up. So I'm gonna have to go and chuck a generator on it for tonight. Last thing I wanted to do was go anywhere, to be honest, but anyway, see ya. I just took this old deer out of her misery, and she was waiting at the trough to get a drink. I've noticed her around for a while, but haven't got that close to her. But she's got a hole in her back end that was just filling up with her own poo. So, yeah, obviously very crook, and was looking sick. And I was like, you know, obviously she can't go on like that, the poor thing. So, yeah. Anyway, poor old dear. Morning, folks, from me castle. Check out me little mate. Me big mate. That's alright, he keeps all the other creepy crawlies at bay for me. Well, it's a bloody nice morning anyway. So we've got some fires around us, and that's the result. Bit of cloud, bit of smoke around. The sun just on the horizon there coming up. Looks bloody beautiful. Supposed to be some rain on the way, actually. Check out this fella. That's amazing. Another stick insect. Pretty big boy. Right, so I've just made a repair to this trough. I've just turned the tap on again for this line. So we're filling up the trough. It's funny when you start to get water going again. They hear it and smell it. Look at big fella coming over. Come on, mate, come over. The bar's just about open. Well, it's well and truly on its way to 43 degrees. Hot as a bastard. Wow, look at these two. Look at this dude doing the worm. Hey, what's up? What were you doing, mate? Were you getting down and dirty, or you fighting? What is going on here? Look at this bloke. Full on acrobat. Get down from there. Look what I've just come across here. Brand new little baby calf with mama. Just got born. Hello, mama. Oh, ain't that bloody beautiful. What are you two doing? Look at the size of this bullock. Look at the horns on him. He's huge. Well, I'm just out bush here. Just got back to me donga. And look, there's a snake hanging out. Look at that behind me toilet. So we'll try and get him out. It's a Stimson's, I can tell. Stimson's python. I'll try and pull him out. See all that frog shit and whatnot there? So every now and then you give it a clean, but the frogs just come straight back. That's a part of living out in the fucking scrub. Sometimes you get snakes. So I'm gonna try and get him out of there, but he's fucking jammed in there. Come on, mate. He's just poking his little head up. Come on, young fella. Come on, mate. Oh, he's only tiny too. Look at that. He's bloody puny. These are some of the most beautiful snakes you'll ever come across, eh? Little Stimsons, they call them. Look, he's trying to climb up here. That's a beautiful little snake. Fortunately, I've never had any venomous ones in here, but it's not to say it can't happen, but it's mainly the bloody little pythons you get coming into the toilet looking for frogs and whatever, having a bit of a swim. I've actually had 2 of these just out of me front door here. Yeah, so they're the little the bricks little step to get up in the donga. So I've actually had 2 of these little suckers in between those bricks. Yeah, one morning. But I haven't seen a Stimson python for bloody ages, and this is only a little one. He's only a young fella. I want to keep him now. Nah, we'll go and put him out in the flat somewhere. What a beautiful little snake. They got to be one of my favourite snakes, eh? I've come across countless little Stimson's pythons in me years. I've only ever had one try and have a crack at me. And I think it might have been a pregnant female just on the bitumen late one night. I pulled up to have a look and like pull her off the road. And she said, "Oi mate, I got babies." So she tried to have a crack. Meanwhile, look what the bloody sun's doing over here. Far out. It's funny too, because you got to think, look, the little fella doesn't want to leave me bloody arm. But you got to think, I wonder where it's living. Come on mate, it's time to go. The ground, go on the ground. There you go. How bloody cool is that? That's so awesome.